Hello, good morning, everybody. This is Kevin here, 7:30 in the morning again. Very happy to see every one of you joining me today. And today we're gonna go into Feng Shui and looking at the Feng Shui calendar system. So I'm sure you guys are familiar enough already right now. By now that you know that there is a lunar calendar system, there's a solar calendar system, and there's also a Gregorian calendar system that's running around. In the Feng Shui world, there is also two calendar system that's running around, right? So which is the 2-cycle system, 2-cycle 8 period versus the 3-cycle 9 period. The 3-cycle 9 period you guys are pretty familiar with. That is the one that is more commercialized, more hype and talk about. And then there is the 2-cycle 8 period, which is lesser, right? So but you know there's some impact on it, right? So as usual in the morning, you know, I say good morning to Pak Pui first. So there's sun shining around, right? So and then Manuel is around, Jocelyn is around, Hank is around. How are you guys all doing, right? So no, the typhoon already hit Philippines right now, is going into Taiwan, is already in Taiwan, by the way, right? So no, yeah, right? So wrecking havoc as well, right? So and in Malaysia, I don't know lah, the storm are here and there. And then I also see that the Thailand, the Bangkok, the hospital sinkhole land shift, right? So it's continued to sink. Right, so it seems like, you know, I become the newscaster already. And in Malaysia also, you know, there are some sinkhole forming here and there. Oh yeah, China has their bridge fallen down as well. Right, so it seems like a lot of disaster happening at the same time. Now I just tell you, actually this sort of disaster like typhoon, rain, all this can actually happen quite frequent or quite normally around. The difference in period 9 is that the news reach you faster. That's all. Right, so the news reach you faster. Because right now, right, with all the apps, with all the tracking, with all the everybody having a handphone in their hand and, you know, recording every single thing that's happening and posting it on social media, and with the advancement of the algorithm, it's actually the algorithm. Once you see one news, everything about that news keep on coming to you. So it seems from your perspective that that is very important. That's all, right? It is not that that is very important. It's just that the algorithm push everything to you. Right, very simple, right? So that's the power of period 9, you know, whereby, you know, attention, you know, gets sent to you very much more faster. Hello Gigi, hello So, hello Kelvin, hello Inko. Right, so come, let's get into the topic. Let me shrink myself down to the smaller version of myself, right, the tinier version, right? So as usual, you know, get in touch with me, Telegram. So I've been sending out the 2026 quick report already, right? So now some of you should be receiving it. If there's anything, just reply to the email, right? So you got any comment also, just please reply to the email, right? So and then there is the monthly forecast, right? So now the forecast for the next month, as usual, has already been done, right? So it will be sent out, you know, in probably about 10-15 days later. Right, so those of you who want a read version, you know, so please go on to sign up for the Substack. Right, so now just tell you for Substack, there's actually two separate part of it. One is the free subscriber, which you get, you know, all the free information. Then there is the paid subscriber. The paid subscriber actually got different content on. Right, so now I got books inside, you know, that I have published to talk about property selection. There's a property selection books inside, right, so that you can go and read, right? So and what else do I have that's under paid content? Actually quite a lot. The 2026 each of the animal sign guide for your 4 pillar also is inside as a paid content. So if you're a paid subscriber, you know, you get to go and read it, right? So up to you whether you want to, you know, support me via monetary or just, you know, want to read stuff. All right, so go and have, and there is the community channel, which is a Facebook page, and, you know, you want to join and, you know, talk to people who is also studying Chinese metaphysics, you know, please go and join the community channel, right? So there is a one meetup that we're going to be doing on the 1st of December, right? So if the 1st of December you fly into Malaysia, you know, just happen to we purposely put it right after Thrive, right? So if you fly in for the Joey Up Thrive event, right, so on the day after it, you know, we have a kind of a lunch chat up together, right? So if you got any question about Thrive that you want to ask me, I'll be there, right? So, you know, yeah, you know, come and join us in that particular, right? So want to take a look at the event, you know, go to the Facebook page and look at it, right? So come, let's take a look at it, right? So now this one is something that you guys are very familiar with, familiar at the same time also baffled with it, Right, so in studying Chinese metaphysics, you know already there is this thing called lunar calendar. Now, lunar calendar very simple. It is basically tracking the moon going one circle around Earth. So it's a 15-day cycle. So every 15 day the moon go half a circle. Then every 15 day the moon go another half a circle. So it's 30 day per circle. Right. So in the olden day, there are people who have managed to observe this particular phenomena has been tracking the moon. So the moon calendar system was created. Then there is the solar calendar system. Solar calendar system is the Earth going around the sun in one round. Technically speaking, it is still stuff going around stuff. Right, so then they track this particular things happening, and then you come up with the solar calendar. Then, you know, out of nowhere, then there's the Gregorian calendar, or what we call the Julius Caesar's calendar, by the way. If you don't know, Julius Caesar is the fella who completed the Gregorian calendar. So original Gregorian calendar actually got, I think, 3 months missing on. They basically completely forget, or they don't track winter, because winter cannot do anything, right? So there was a system that run like that. Then afterward, Julius Caesar wanted to insert his name into the calendar system, and, you know, expanded the calendar system. So you can see that all these 3 calendar system basically is very confusing. Like, for example, the lunar calendar system, you know, like, it go 30 day, and today, you know, that the Earth go around the sun, you know, it's like 365, 1/4, right? So it doesn't jive. So that's why every few years, there's an additional month that get added into the lunar calendar. Right, so by the way, Chinese New Year is decided by the lunar calendar, not the solar calendar. Solar calendar is used to decide the Lap Chun, right? So Lap Chun is the coming of spring, right? So, you know, so most astrological calculation is done by solar calendar. Very little is using lunar calendar, right? So the one that uses lunar calendar, if I am not wrong, is your 紫微斗数. 紫微斗数 uses the lunar calendar. Purple 紫微斗数 is what? Forgot. Right. Much easier with the moon calendar, 28 day, 13 month, right? Much easier with the moon calendar. Right, yes, later heck, now I will propose the calendar to everybody. Right, so then there's a Gregorian calendar, which is super confusing, 30 day, 31 day, 30 day, 31 day. Every 4 years at 1 day, right? So which is the super confusing one, but that is the most popular calendar system. But anyway, all this calendar system runs, you know, concurrently. Right, so your Bazi system is a solar calendar system, okay? Bazi is a solar calendar system. So that's why every single year you got this particular question. Why is not 1st January that they think? No one in the solar calendar system cares about the Gregorian calendar. That's it. Right, the solar calendar dude does not care about the lunar calendar, do not care about Gregorian calendar. Then there is the lunar calendar dude that don't care about the solar calendar, don't care about Gregorian calendar. Then of course there is the most of the Gregorian calendar dude that doesn't really understand solar and lunar calendar. It's perfectly fine, right? Whichever calendar system you like to use, up to you. But just telling you that, you know, the Bazi basically uses the solar calendar, right? So more specifically, most of the calculation is actually using the 24 season, right? Season system, right? So again, there is a bit of a calculation system that's there. So now to me is, you know, you don't need to understand all this system. Don't even need to bother about this. Just use the calendar that's been supplied to you. Great enough. Good enough or not, right? So no, easier for you. So don't get, you know, two. It's just that, you know, don't try to force one calendar system into the other calendar system and thinking that that calendar system is superior, right? So now these are the normal calendar system. We talk about it is here. In the Feng Shui world, there is also 2 calculation system that's running. It's actually 3 lah. There's another one that doesn't care about what we do. Right, so come, right, so purple star, right, so yes, purple star astrology, John, right, so that is the 紫微斗数. Right, so again, they say, oh, 紫微斗数 more accurate, Bazi more accurate, depend on who's reading. Right, frankly speaking, it depends on who's reading. Right, the system has their own background. If you understand the background, you know how they basically does a reading. Right, so, you know, Bazi got Bazi way of doing a reading. Right, so, and the purple star astrology has the purple star astrology. Now, purple star astrology is very, very much like Sensha. It's basically a direct port. of their Shen Sha system. Then they are going to, does purple star copy Shen Sha copy purple star, don't care. It's exactly the same, they use exactly the same star. Right? So, and Parzi also got the 12 palaces plotting method one. You don't know, God. Right? Parzi also can plot into 12 palaces, like how purple star astrology is being plotted. Okay, right? So no, it's basically that. No, so again, whichever system you like to use, you know, whether you want to use numerology, you want to use Qi destiny, or you want to use Feng Shui life gua. To me, is actually not very important. It's more important is once you get the information, what you do with it. Right? If you do absolutely nothing with it and give you all the system, also no use. Okay, come, let's take a look at Feng Shui system. Now, Feng Shui got these two system, which is what we call a 2-cycle 8-period system versus a 3-cycle 9-period system. Now, the 3-cycle 9-period system is the one that you are very familiar with. Right, so this is the Sang Yuan, Zhong Yuan, Xia Yuan, you know, so which is the upper cycle, middle cycle, lower cycle, and then each cycle, you know, got 3 period, right? So 1, 2, 3 belong to upper cycle period, 4, 5, 6 belong to the middle cycle period, 7, 8, 9 belong to the lower period, and then, you know, each of them holds 20 years. So both this calendar got 180 years in them. 180 years is one of the cycle, right? So basically the calculation is talking about 180 years for how the planet will realign back to its original position. So they have tracked all the planet movement. They found that 180 years is how the things work, right? So it all is going to be divided into 60s, and 60 seems to be this very magical number that a lot of different culture actually use 60. You know, even the Aztec also use 60 as a main divisional. So which means that somebody has observed the space spinning long enough, found that, you know, 60 seems to be the magical cycle number, right? So same thing with the Parzi. Parzi uses 60 pillar, right? So which is actually tracking the movement of the Jupiter, Grand Duke Jupiter, 59.8 years, one cycle, 60, right? So they're actually tracking planet on. Because in the olden day, you don't have anything else to do looking at the sky and the night without the all the light pollution. You can actually see the sky quite clearly, and if you spend enough time looking at the sky, you start to recognize the sky. So this is where all your star sign come from. You know, your Aquarius, you know, whatever it is, all come from that. Is because different culture group the star differently. That's it. Right, all the culture, you know, whether it's Indian culture, English culture, Chinese culture, whichever culture that look at star, you know, astrology, they group the star in a different manner. Right, so once you group the star, it's same amount of star. 100 star means 100 star that they can see. Then, you know, I group these 3 as one group, you group 6 as one group, the other person group 5 as one group. Doesn't matter, it is still exactly the same star. All right, so you have all of this basically. Now the tricky part about it, the heaven cycle, which is the 2-cycle 8-period system, the years are not the same. So which means period 1, the total number of years is different. Period 2, the total number of years is different. Right. So Sumerian also uses 60 base system. So many you see that they actually all use a 60 base system. Okay. They uses all the 60 base system, right? So the period 3 also. Now you notice that the 2-cycle 8-period does not have period 5. Yeah, period 5 doesn't exist. Right, so in this particular system, there's no such thing as period 5. Right, so it's only got, you know, top preload. So which means that in the calendar for the 2-cycle 8-period, we are currently at the lower cycle. Right, so the only top and bottom cycle only. Period 9, right? So, and the Earth is the Earth cycle, which is the 3-cycle 9-period. Right, so now from now on, I shall call the 2-cycle 8-period, which is a bit long, to heaven cycle. That's it. Right, so, and then the 3-cycle 9-period shall be called the Earth cycle. So you know, call heaven and Earth cycle, right? So you gotta do the translation, right? Yeah, no, but if not, you know, every single time this come out, oh, we are talking about the 2-cycle 8-period, you know, then we are talking about the 3-cycle 9-period, you know, it becomes very lengthy. Right, so just say the heaven cycle and also Earth cycle. And by the way, they are appropriately named that way. Right, so you got a Tin Yun, you got a Tei Yun. Pretty simple. Right, so you know, it's a bit different. And both of them affect different stuff. right? So, and for those of you who doesn't know, actually, there was a big hoo-ha changing to period 9, right? In the cycle of changing to period 9, those that uses the heaven calendar don't care about it, right? So it doesn't care because it doesn't change anything, you know, in terms of their application, right? So, you know, change of period 9. But when period 9 change to period 1, this is going to be very, very important because the heaven cycle start to change. So you are changing from one cycle to another cycle, right? We're changing around, a lot of your Feng Shui formula is going to hit the wall. Right? And the important thing is that, you know, the what we call the lower cycle is 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, has been going on for the past 90 plus years. So we don't have much people who have experienced the change of cycle for the heaven cycle, which means that, you know, the last group of people who change from the period 4 to period 6, they are all pretty much dead. Right? You can see, right? So you can see that, you know, see, like 20 years one, right? Like for me, I've experienced, I was born in period 6, right? So born in around period 6, right? So period 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? So that's about, you know, because 20 years one, so 20 years basically one cycle. Right? So I will see period 1, I will probably not see period 2. So period 1 is actually a much more bigger hoo-ha, right? Because a lot of the Feng Shui is going to change. Right, so a lot of places, you know, especially those that playing with water setup, right? So, you know, yeah, you know, one of the biggest water setup that you want to talk about is actually the Forbidden City. Forbidden City is actually built by using artificial water setup. Right, so it is set up in a different period, then it was applied in a different period. So that's why a lot of problem with the formula. Right, so now when you join my excursion, I explain to you, you know, all the setup. Then you can go there and, you know, take a look on your own, do your own analysis and all of that. Right, so just telling you, there's actually 2 different calendar system. Right, so your Xuan Kong Flying Star uses the Earth cycle. So that's why Xuan Kong Flying Star is actually a Earth-based formula. Right, so and then there is the heaven-based formula, which usually is called water formula, by the way. Right, so the Earth-based formula, usually we call it the mountain formula, and then the heaven formula, we usually call it the water formula. Right, so again, you know, water formula more powerful, heaven formula, mountain formula more powerful. Depend on what you want. If you want to make money, it's all water formula. If you are thinking about, you know, per se, what we call prosperity, we're gonna call it. Right, so you don't care about character development, you don't care about relational building, you don't care about reputation, you know, then please, you know, go for water related formula. Right, so one of the more famous water formula is basically your 5 goats carry treasure. That is a water formula. The 7-star robbery also is called water formula. They are very popular because if the environment allowed, and if it's set up in a correct manner, it allows rapid accumulation of wealth. If it's set up wrongly, then, you know, it allows rapid dispersion of wealth. Very fair. Okay, right, so come, let's take a look at what is the heaven cycle effect. Right, so now this is, you know, I arrange a calendar system for you to see, right? So between the heaven calendar, which is the 2 cycle 8 period, and also the Earth calendar, which is the 3 cycle 9 period. So you can see that, you know, that. So if you remember during the hoo-ha of the period 9, right? So a lot of people say that period 9 started in 2017. If you guys remember, right? So back in 2017, they said that period 9 started. So a lot of people was very confused. How come period 9 started in 2017 then? It's because they are talking about the heaven calendar. So, by the way, the heaven calendar calculation is using the trigram. Yin line is 6 years, yang line is 9 years. So you need to take a look at the yin yang line. So which means that period 7 for the heaven calendar, it is 24 years. Alright, so period 8 is 21 years, then, you know, period 9 is 24 years, depending on the yin and yang line. So you go and calculate your yin and yang line. So maximum you can have 3 yang line, so which is 999. Right, 999 is 27, right? 27 years. Right, so then the minimum one is 6 yin line, which is 18 years, shortest. right? So the years is different. So that's why you can see that both of them basically runs a bit, right? So the period 9, right? So the period 9, if you take a look on the Earth calendar, it will run until 2043. But in the heaven calendar, 2040, it will end already. So which means 2040 is the starting of the changing of the entire period for the heaven calendar, which is a much bigger hoo-ha than your current period 9 change. Current period 9 change actually doesn't change much on it. Seriously, it doesn't really change much. So when you hit into the period 1 change, when you change into period 1, a lot of your formula will go haywires. Right, so let me see, I see hex here. The main problem is the same planet can't be the same place. If the planet rotate in 5 different directions, it never be in the same place ever. Earth must still not match, must be still to match the constellation. Heck, if you take a look at it, the entire solar system actually is not spinning in a standing point. It is actually moving and spinning in a cyclone manner to a direction. It seems like, so it's the I don't know when they say that it's the entire theory of the entire galaxy is expanding. So the entire solar system, or you want to call the entire chunk of thing, is actually moving at the same time. You are spinning like this one. You are actually not spinning in a fixed point. You're actually spinning like this. Seems like everything is basically moving. So now again, please don't go into that. Your brain get to what. Right. So now you guys are familiar with this direct indirect spirit. Right. So direct indirect spirit, if you take a look at it, right. So it says that where the water should be and where the mountain should be. Right. So now this that you see is only applicable for the lower period of the heaven cycle. Lower period of the heaven cycle. So when you go back to the upper period, everything reverse. So you just imagine somebody who has set up their house and say that, water is supposed to be good in this area. So right now they always tell you, right, you need to put water in this particular area. When you go into period 1, right, the place whereby is supposed to be water right now need to be mountain. And do you know that you can't move mountain? Right, period 9, the period 9 thingy very easy to do setup on anyone, right? Because why? The period 9 energy always is in your house, no matter your house is which period, right? Whether your house is bought in period 1, which is impossible, right? So period 6 is the furthest that I've seen, by the way, right? So in terms of house, right? So because before that, don't think anybody was commercializing house building, right? Oh yeah, by the way, when you come for the excursion in China, I will also explain to you a house, right, from a ancient point of view, right? So then that's when you start to understand, is there such thing as a Feng Shui house, right? So you need to go there and see it on your own on how Feng Shui architecture basically is work. Right, only the pole star stands still. Yes, correct. Right, so now can you start to see right now that a lot of these formulas. So now when you set up your house, and then you have a water feature to set up in a certain area, right? It was auspicious during that particular time, right? So right now, when it changed to another period, when everything go the other way around, your current water feature right now from something that is auspicious become a Sachi. Big problem, isn't it? Because why? It's not easy to shift the building, nor is it easy to shift the mountain. Water is still shiftable, but it does cost you a lot of money to shift water, especially when it's huge, right? Don't need to start. What's the estimate cost? No worry lah, it's very affordable, right? My trips are all very affordable trips, right? So yeah. Right, so no point having a trip set. Oh, by the way, I can tell you we'll be staying in Ritz-Carlton. Right, so I've worked out a deal with Ritz-Carlton, China, which is very expensive. Anyway. Okay, right, so this is one of it, and there's many formulas that's basically using this, and the formula need to be readjusted to the period. This is much more big hoo-ha, but it's gonna be 20 years later, in adding another 20 years into my life, I would be about 70. At that point in time, don't care. Right. We all did Feng Shui for Ritz-Carlton. probably can be done now. Probably can be done, but I don't see anything special. We would extensively talk about the feng shui of the Forbidden City, and also can talk about the feng shui of the Heaven's Temple. Right, so now then I will explain to you, some salient point of whether important, not important, what should we be looking at, all those kind of things. Just take this as a study trip. Right, cool. Right, so you guys can see. Right, so that's why I say that don't get too uptight with all these different calendar system. A different calendar system, they govern different stuff. That's it. Right, they govern different stuff. Like your moon calendar system mostly is basically used by farmers. Right, so they actually use the moon cycle to decide on farming activity. Right, so it's called the farmer's calendar, by the way. Right, so then the lunar calendar, the solar calendar is used by astrologers to decide on significant dates. Like for example, your winter solstice, your summer equinox, whatever it is, right? So and the one that you guys really love is full moon. Hello, every 15 days got full moon. Right, the moon would actually be full. It's whether it reflects the light or don't reflect. That you guys know that the moon is 24/7 up there, one, right? Right, just because the sunlight come out, the moon cannot see. Like like the stars is actually always up there. You cannot see the stars is because your eye has been excited by the other light that you cannot see it already, right? 月亮代表我的心。Right. 不是这是月亮的错吗？ Okay, right. So now, just now somebody did mention about the calendar system, right? So now, why don't we change the calendar? Now think about this. If we use the 28 day every month, 28 every day every month mean that every week is 7 days. 7 times 4 is 23, right? So and we create a 13 month, right? So we have 364 days. That would be pretty close to the 365 and 1.25 day, right? So then we will get rid of this entire 30 day, 31 day, 30 day, 31 day, 30 day, 31 day, which is actually not very helpful. Right, so this Gregorian calendar system, right, you can just throw into that. Then it will change. So every week is 7 weeks. Every 4 weeks is 1 month. 28 days is 1 month. Then it's basically 13 months. Instead of 12 months, you got 13 months in a year. And just one of the month need to put in additional day as adjustment. Then at the same time, every 4 years you add another 1 more day inside, right? No problem, right? But why don't we do that? Why don't we actually do this? So this seems to be the logical answer, after so long that we understand everything, right? So I don't think there's much of a problem for us to adopt this particular calendar system. By the way, a lot of corporate accounting actually uses this calendar. You don't know, right? So if you've done accounting, a lot of corporate accounting actually uses this 28 days system as their accounting calendar system. Right, so then you get an additional 13 months, you see. Ta-da! Right, so you get an additional month, 1 more month worth of salary. Right, so now your salary, instead of divide by 30 days or divide by 31 days, you got all divide by 28 days. It's actually an advantage for those of you who was working, right? It's because the Roman will say 1. Right. Right, so indirect spirit right now is the lower period, right? So the one that I show you just now is a lower period, right? So lower period, which is the 6, 7, 8, 9 period, right? So when it's changed to 1, 2, 3, 4, everything just reverse only, pretty easy. Direct become indirect, indirect become direct, pretty easy for reverse. But the reverse will affect a lot of people's feng shui setup, especially those that uses water feng shui, right? So the Forbidden City, the biggest screw up was this actually. Okay, but anyway, right, so during that time, I will give a bit of explanation, then you guys will know. Why don't we use this? Right, so now here's the thing. The Gregorian calendar system is just too ingrained into our life. That's all. That's actually the answer. It's not easy to change the calendar system. Right, it's not easy to change the calendar system, and especially how many of you guys are from the Y2K period. I think most of you are, you guys know about the Y2K thingy, whereby the calendar changed from 1999 to 2000. It was a big problem for computer, right? So because a lot of the computer was programmed by not taking into account the first 2 digits of the year, the 19. They don't take into account of that. Right? When the computer was invented at that time, they tried to save. They try to save bits. So a lot of the programming was used by removing the 19, because 19 was a common thing. Right? So they don't include that into the programming. So only the 2 digit at the back was used. Right? So the main fear right now is that when 1999, which is 99, change to 00, the computer may do calculation from 19,000 instead of 2,000. Understand? Right? So a lot of the banking system was like, ew. right, so no, period 9 is not reversed here, right? So no, it's still normal. So that's why period 9 wasn't something that's too special, right? So but period 1, when you go into period 1, big shit, right? So a lot of formula need to be deconstructed, right? So yeah, period 9, there are still some formula that need to be readjusted, like for example the very widely used period 8 3 harmony formula, which is a Kunren Yi formula. Actually in period 9, the Kunren Yi formula cannot use. right, so it's binary code normally, no problem, but that was the main thing right? That was the main thing for the year 2000, where it changed from 99 to 00. They couldn't, the calculation would go all crazy. Now imagine you want to change all the computer current calendar system from the Gregorian calendar system, which has been programmed inside, into this. Where will you put Christmas? Question to you, where will you put Christmas? Right, so Christmas right now is when's Christmas? 25th, right? So yeah, 25th of December is Christmas, right? I'm not wrong. Am I right? Yes, 25th of December. So is Christmas still 25th of December? So is there going to be any celebrative day in the, yeah, there's a lot of celebration day that, was basically fixed, right? So like Chinese New Year, don't care, because Chinese New Year doesn't really care about the Gregorian calendar. But what about, February 14? Is February 14 still February 14 after I add another one more month into it? Right, you have to take a look at that, right? So a lot of this thing that is already ingrained inside, right? So now same thing with the Feng Shui calendar system, right? So whether it's a 2-cycle system, 3-cycle system, because it is already ingrained into the whatever that's doing, right? So making changes upset a lot of stuff. So not to upset a lot of this particular stuff, and you don't want to do all these things, and it's actually very, very difficult, right? So now one of the country that is pretty successful in strong arming this sort of changes, right? So it's actually China, right? So now we see China, that time you will start to know that actually China doesn't really have a common language, at least back then. Right? So it's really China, right now you call everything is Chinese, but back then, right? So one version of the Chinese and another version of the is very different from, what you understand about like British English versus American English versus, Australian English, although they have their own distinct differences, at least in terms of accents, the language itself is basically the same. But when you go to China, it's a different language. So which means that the Canton people talking to the Shanxi people versus talking to the Beijing people, they cannot understand each other. Cannot. Right? So it's just basically a completely alien language. Then the Chinese government decided somewhere down the road to unify a lot of this, right? So, and the Mandarin was picked as the central language for everything. They actually picked Mandarin. Mandarin is actually is a relatively pretty new language, you want to call it. Right? It's not part of the ancient language. The Cantonese is much more ancient than Mandarin itself, but they have picked this one and they decide to, you know, coerce everybody into Mandarin, and hence today Mandarin become the normal thing, right? So it required a lot of effort, it required a lot of education, a lot of marketing to basically get this done. It is an amazing feat of things that is happening, right? So same thing also with a lot of the Chinese culture. So when you come for the excursion, that time we talk about a guy, pretty awesome Confucius, we go visit his house. So you have done a great job. 2,500 years worth of franchising. So I'll tell you his story, right? So right, so up until right now, the Confucius family name, you guys still all know, you know. So you guys still Confucius school, right? All this, right? So now he must have done something right, right? Right, so we see Boss Kong house. Yes, we're gonna see, Mr. Kung Fu Zi house. He must have done something right, so we go there, we look at his grave. Yes, we want to look at his grave, look at his house, and look at his replica temple. Unfortunately, that temple is a replica, right? So yes, the lineage, at least what we call recorded, at least it is recorded the longest, there are probably some that is much more longer than them, right? So at least those are from the recorded side of it. Right, so amazing, right? So we can tell you. So you get to study how things and knowledge get ingrained. We will also take a look at Taoism a bit, Buddhism a bit, right? So I explain to you the differences, right? So and then you start to understand the overall how China basically works, right? So it's an amazing place, China, right? So it's really amazing place and it's amazingly huge. And when I went there, it's like I walk about 30,000 steps a day, which is a bit of a killer. 10,000 steps, you see, 30,000 steps, your leg is like painful like hell. Okay, right? So and I've tried a lot of hotels for you all. Right, so I also know which one work, right, sir? All right. Oh yeah, right. So come and join, right? So okay, right. So now this is basically what I wanna share to you this year. This particular things is for you to know that not only we got lunar calendar, solar calendar, Gregorian calendar. What other calendar do we have? Actually, there's still many. Aztec got Aztec calendar. The one that keep on saying that the world will end. Until right now, still haven't end yet. All right. Thought the descendant brought everything to Taiwan. Not exactly, right? So yeah. So that's again, another completely different. Taiwan like to say that everything basically is there, So yeah, Taiwan and China also, this is another different stuff, right? So right. So other than that calendar, now that there is this 2-cycle 8-period calendar that's running in the Feng Shui world, and then there is this 3-cycle 9-period calendar that's running in the Feng Shui world. And please don't go and ask stuff like which calendar is correct, which calendar is better, which one. Use both. So if you know that this particular formula runs on the 3-cycle calendar formula, like your Xuan Kong flying star run on the 3-cycle calendar, then just use the 3-cycle calendar. If you know that this direct indirect spirits runs on the 2-cycle 8-period calendar, then just use the 2-cycle 8-period calendar. That's it. It's just like when you go to a certain places, if the fella speaks this particular language, then you speak that language. Simple enough, right? Just use whatever that's with, right? So Taipei Afro use Earth calendar for which part of it? So again, Qimeng plotting different. The plotting method is different. Okay, again, Qimeng plotting basically uses the hour to start the plotting. Then you do all the particular plotting. It is still using a solar calendar, by the way. Right. So then there is the Bazi. Bazi is plot using year, month, day, and hour. Right. So it goes in this particular sequence. Most Feng Shui just uses the year, as the locking point. And again, depending, if you are using Flying Star, then Flying Star all uses the 3-cycle 9-period system. Okay, right? So direct indirect spirits is basically this particular system. All right, cool, pretty easy. Right? So it sounds easy, right? So basically what I'm telling you is that just observe whatever rules and regulation is applied on the formula that you are using, right? So don't care, whether this fella, and of course, we say, oh no, but the planet has been wobbling around, not too accurate, so stuff like that. That one also you don't bother about it. Okay, right? So that's it, guys. See you all. Bye.